It's been a long time since I uploaded a video. I've been really busy. In fact, that's what I wanted to talk about for just a minute. I originally wanted to make animation videos, parodies, satire, that sort of thing. Unfortunately, I can't do that. At least not consistently. Normally, people come home from a 9 to 5 job, then make a video or stream. My focus is on projects outside of YouTube, like art projects and making games is what I have more of an interest in because of my animation background. Working on these projects takes long hours, leaving not much time to make videos. I prefer putting more time and effort on projects outside of YouTube than making YouTube videos themselves because sadly there's little or no return on making YouTube videos with a lot of work and effort. It just hasn't been worth it. I need to figure out a way to make easier videos. I don't want to make review videos for games, movies, and shows. There's too many of those, and there's too many culture war videos. I'm really starting to get tired of hearing those videos every day saying the same thing in different ways over and over again. I want to make something that I would think would be fun to watch. I've decided while I'm working on other projects like art projects or making games, I'm going to make something like devlog videos showing how I made them and showing my progress. I'm going to try to do it in an entertaining way. That way, I'll be able to get half of the work done for videos while working on a game or other projects, then finish the rest of the work on a video for later. Like the saying goes, killing two birds with one stone. I'm going to try to do a video a week and see how that goes, but most likely I'll probably just be putting out a video when I can. I'm still going to try to make some animation videos. I've got some in mind that I really want to make, but those are going to have to be few and far between. Now that that's out of the way, on to the point of the video. So, there was an art contest by Clip Studio Paint. The task was to make a comic page, just one comic page, using the theme Deja Vu. That's really it. Just make anything out of that. And what do I make? At least for this, there was a lot more time than any other contest I tried. This contest started from September 1st and ended on November 28th. So I had more time to plan and experiment. At that point, what idea should I come up with? What kind of deja vu setting to make? I didn't want to make something cliche or too obvious. I didn't want to just have a character copying him or herself in a few panels. I didn't want to have the page doing something then copying the same panels on the other half of the page, or have the copied panels just upside down. I also didn't want to have a character just being like, "This looks familiar." While I was trying to figure out ideas, the website hosting the contest has some other people's comics they uploaded for the contest. Some pretty good ones, but also a lot are doing the very thing I wanted to avoid. I went on to ChatGPT to see what kind of ideas it could come up with. So I took those brainstorm ideas and changed and formed them into my own. I used some of those ideas to come up with the main character has discovered a phenomenon. It happens to him again. He's seeing something new. He sees a futuristic setting, something he's not familiar with, and another version of himself in another dimension. Now, I did put together a better structure, and I've got the story idea I wanted. I wasn't sure what the comic size format needed to be. The instructions weren't clear to me. I'm used to comics being 11 by 17, then scaled down to 8.5 by 11. The instructions said, single image comic up to 10 panels allowed. Max aspect ratio 1:3. Tall uploads won't be cropped. That doesn't really tell me much. Does the comic need to be like a webtoon comic? Does it need to be made like a traditional comic? What are the sizes of the sides? What is the length of the comic size? When I did a webtoon comic contest, they gave a detailed explanation on the size of how they wanted a comic for their contest. They even gave a link explaining how to make a comic in a webtoon format. So I don't get why for the Clip Studio Paint contest, they couldn't be clear. I tried Googling what a 1:3 comic aspect ratio could mean. Google AI told me I couldn't have an 11:17 size, while ChatGPT told me I could. Ugh. Okay. So which one do I listen to? I guess I can stick with the 11:17 format, but I ended up squeezing too much onto too little. It wasn't until after the contest was over I found out I could extend the height length of the comic size. Then it was now up to actually make the comic. I storyboarded a rough comic drawing from the story. I didn't want a few panels that didn't really tell a story. I needed a little bit more. The maximum number of panels to use is 10, so that's what I had. Well, actually, I had more, so I cut it down to 10 panels to fit the requirements. I drew in the roughs, then the dialogue. I didn't really have a particular reason calling the main character Damien. I just didn't want to call him Bill or Jeff.
My name is Jeff.
I called the city Empire City because it was the easiest go-to name for a city, so I just went with that. After I finished the roughs, I made the solid line work for the panels, then the full line work for the entire comic. I'm not really used to those hard shadows in comics, so that was a bit of a struggle for me. I experimented with it, but it's not something I probably could keep up with if I was making a full comic. It would take me too long to make. There are easier ways I'm going to stick with. This was just something I wanted to experiment. While making the line work, I decided to want to change the first panel. When making the line work, I decided I wanted to change the first panel's establishing shot of the city. If I try to make up a street I originally had from the storyboard, it would have taken me ages to get it done. I found reference of a city that's closest to what I wanted. So I took that reference, flipped the image to get the direction I wanted, took details out of it while adding some of my own. Unfortunately, drawing the first panel was still taking longer than what I had in mind. After I finished the line work, then came the basic colors. Now, at this point, I had other things taking up more time, along with the planning and drawing that was taking much longer than I wanted it to. So now I had about 4 or 3 weeks left. I added more color details like shadows and effects to the rest of the comic. If I had more time left over, I would add more, but at this point, I was just burning out, and about within a week left, so I decided to finish giving more time to upload it, just in case something went wrong while uploading it, and usually something always does, which it did. Having to upload it was a pain in the ass, but it did get uploaded. Everything did work out. It didn't take too long, but it was taking like 2-3 hours to get it working to upload properly. So now it seems to be uploaded. Now that that's done, over with, let's go over with what I have. So the first panel, I decided to make an establishing shot of the city. The streets of Empire City. Then the second panel, we have our character walking down the street. He's trying to figure out some phenomenon that happened before. I just don't get it. What's triggering the phenomenon? God. Then he's just walking down the street like everything's normal. Tap! He just stepped into I guess you could say, a hot spot for whatever phenomenon. Everything seems to be changing and shifting like static or water. Now being pulled into some kind of other dimensional light tunnel, while everyone else is kind of disappearing. But he also sees somebody in the distance. Now we get a little bit of a closer look. Still don't know who this is, what's going on. Turns around. Oh my God! It's himself. Or somebody else that looks like him, but wearing different clothes. Now, why is this all happening? Well, it's just a complete shock to him. It's like all this is happening in some other dimension, and this whole shift in reality is happening. Then someone calls him from behind, "Hey, Damien!" Turns around, "What in the fuck?" Everything goes back to normal. And there you have it. Did I win? No. No, I did not. This did help me with figuring things out, trying new tricks. I was trying to combine a simplistic animation style with the comic book style shading. Those pools of black can be difficult trying to find the right place to put them. I'm probably going to stick with what I'm comfortable with. I prefer the animation and colored illustration styles. If you made it this far into the video, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Click on the bell for notifications.
Ding!
I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all later.